Hi guys, my name is Melanie. I'm a certified master health and wellness coach through the IAWP, and I'm here today to talk about 3 steps to go from mindless eating to mindful eating. So all of us at some point have participated in mindless eating, not really paying attention to the foods that we're eating, why we're eating them, or where they come from. And this more often than not leads to unhealthy habits, unhealthy food choices, and a whole list of other things that go along with that. Mindful eating, on the other hand, is a more deliberate way of eating. It's going to require awareness, a little bit of thought, and planning as well. So for me, there's really 3 steps or 3 layers, if you will, to mindless eating. The first is being the most basic. Pay attention to what you're eating. Stop, slow down, and take notice of the food that you're eating. Most of us have busy lives, so we're quickly shoveling food into our mouths while we're running out the door to this meeting or that class or just off to work. Even at the table, we tend to be mindless eaters because we either have our phones in our hand or the TV is on. And also just everyday stresses of life. We can just be stuck in thought, thinking about the stress of the day or things that are coming up, kind of stuck in your mind, so you're not really paying attention to what you're even doing. So at this layer of mindful eating, it's really about enjoying the food and paying attention to what's on your plate. So in this layer, you really want to use your senses. So for sight, pay attention, take notice of the food that's on your plate. What are the colors? How many colors of food do you have on your plate? Just really take it all in. Is it plated beautifully? Things like that. Next is scent. Smell it, enjoy it, really take in the scent of how the food is smelling before you start to eat. And then most importantly, taste. When you're eating your food, slow down to really chew it and take time to notice the flavors and really enjoy the taste of the food. When you're doing this allows you to be in the moment, and what happens is it also gives your body and your brain time to get on the same page, which is going to lead to a lot less overeating and just better digestion, because when you're in the moment and you're focused on what you're doing, you can let go of those other stressors that are kind of hanging around in there in the background a little bit, which is going to help with digestion. So you're going to feel a lot better when you're doing this as well. So second layer builds on the first layer, being mindful of your food choices. So ask yourself 3 questions when it comes to your food. What foods am I choosing? Why am I choosing these foods? And are they nourishing my body? So are the foods that you're choosing nourishing your body, or are they processed junk with little or no nutritional value? It's important to kind of take a step back from your food and really analyze what you're eating and why you're eating it. Because sometimes we can get lost in that, I'm just eating because I am under stress. So you can kind of pinpoint some of the reasons why you're eating and make some connections onto what you're eating, because some things we know we all go to as comfort food that aren't necessarily nourishing our bodies. So it's good to pay attention, and we don't stop and ask ourselves those questions often enough. So in the second step, once you're really paying attention to, and being in the moment when you're eating, then start paying attention to what you're eating and why you're eating it. So the third layer is being mindful of where our food comes from. So is it commercially grown, containing pesticides and a lot of artificial fertilizers and things like that, or is it more organically grown and clean? So it can sometimes be expensive to eat more organically, depending on where you live. So some tips on how to have cleaner, more sustainable food choices that way. Look for ways to eat local. Do you have a grocery store that provides food that is grown locally by local farmers? Farmers markets in the summertime. For those of us that live in colder climates, farmers markets aren't always available, but a lot of times are grocery stores that do carry local growers produce, even through the winter time. So it's good to kind of check on that, because usually more locally grown stuff is going to be sustainably grown and it's going to be a little bit cleaner. You could try to grow some of your own food. Even if you don't have a lot of space in your yard for a garden, you can plant things in pots. You can grow all kinds of different things in pots on a small deck, or, you know, in a small area. Or if nothing else, you can even experiment. If you've never grown anything before, you can experiment with a small herb garden that you can, you know, have in a sunny windowsill in your house. It doesn't take up a lot of space. It doesn't take a lot of work, but it's going to be a way for you to kind of get started and kind of growing your own food, because then you know where it comes from, you know what's in it, and you know that it's going to be clean and healthy. So these are just these are really some surface tips. They kind of build on one upon another. I know I shared a lot of information, and the order of the steps is intentional. They kind of build on each other, and it's an easy way to get into mindful eating without feeling like it has to be this big deal. You know, small, simple steps. Once you have step one mastered, paying attention to your food and being intentional when you're eating your meals, not having your electronics on, and just trying to kind of focus on the food. Once you have that step mastered, then move on to the next step. You know, dig into what you're choosing for foods and why you're choosing them and when you're eating them and maybe why you're eating them. And are they actually nourishing your body, or are they kind of contributing to some of the stress and things that you have in your life? And finally, the third step is being aware of where your foods are coming from. Being mindful and educating yourself about where your food is coming from and how you can get access to healthy, clean options that are going to be very nourishing for your body. So I challenge you today to try step one at your next meal, whether it's lunch or dinner or breakfast. If you're watching this before breakfast, try step one at your next meal and really pay attention and see how you feel. How do you feel during your meal, and how do you feel after? Did you notice a difference on how the meal went and how you're feeling? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.